Hello, I am Remo Yes Man, and today I want to talk about the top 10 reasons why Warframe is better than Destiny. And before I even start, let me preface the video by saying my next video will be the top 10 reasons why Destiny is better than Warframe, so I'm not just shitting on both games. Anyway, guys, without further ado, let's just jump into it with reason number 1 why Warframe is better than Destiny. Reason number 1 why Warframe is better than Destiny. Warframe is actually a free game. It doesn't just have some bullshit new light free-to-play mode that artificially inflates the player base. Warframe is actually free, meaning as a free player, you will be able to access every piece of content the game has to offer without paying a dime. In fact, in the open world expansion, the Deveri Paradox, you can actually begin that as a new player. So Warframe is actually a free game. And as for Destiny, they have a free-to-play business model with their battle pass and their currencies available. But as it stands, Destiny is nowhere near a free game. Reason number 2 why Warframe is better than Destiny. Warframe gives you free companions. Upon completing a little bit of the story when you start Warframe, you'll be gifted a companion, and if you want more companions, it's as simple as going into the market, buying their blueprint for credits that you earned in-game, and going out into the world and farming the resources to build those companions. While some companions are robots and can be built, other companions come from eggs, and other companions drop from bosses like the Sisters of Parvos. So yeah, the companion system is big in Warframe, and with the addition of vacuum or a fetch mod, depending on what type of companion you have, you can just have your companion running around vacuuming up all the loot. That way you don't have to. Reason number 3 why Warframe is better than Destiny. In Destiny, you only have access to 3 characters, and while you only have access to 3 characters, you do have access to several subclasses for your Titan, your Warlock, and your Hunter. But the thing is, the way Destiny is structured with the power system, it's going to be hard to main all 3 of those characters, so a lot of the times, you're not even going to consistently get to use all 3 characters. I know me personally, in Destiny 2, I was a Warlock main, whereas in Destiny 1, I was able to use all 3 characters. But in Warframe, you start out with 3 character slots, but you only are given 1 character. Upon going into the world and simply farming bosses, you can farm as many Warframes as you have space for. And I will admit that initially they only give you 3 slots, but for 20 platinum, you can expand your storage and you can have just about as many Warframes as you want. At one point, I believe I had like 50, but with the Warframe subsume system, I got rid of all my non-prime variants and I took their abilities and put them on Warframes that I actually do use. So yeah, that's a big one. Reason number 4 why Warframe is better than Destiny. The monetization model. In Warframe, all the content that comes out is actually available for free. In fact, you are encouraged to complete this content because some of the content will give you really great rewards that you may use throughout your entire time playing Warframe. Destiny's quests also have some really great rewards and a really rich story, but the thing about Destiny's expansions is those expansions usually run you between $30 and $50, and that's on top of the cost of the base game. Destiny also has a battle pass which features a free variant and a paid variant, and obviously the paid variant is way more lucrative. In Warframe also has a battle pass system in the form of the Nightwave. The difference between Destiny and Warframe's battle pass system though is you can't pay any money for the Nightwave. The Nightwave is completely free to everybody. In Destiny, All the cool cosmetics are locked behind the Eververse, which houses some really cool cosmetic gear, I must say. But in Warframe, there's only platinum. You get 75 platinum for $5, 370 for $20. And I must admit that all of the cosmetics in Warframe are locked behind platinum. But the thing about the cosmetics in Warframe are the cosmetics are locked behind a Tenogen system. That's what it's called, because a lot of the coolest cosmetics are actually player created, and they will usually run you around 170 platinum. That's about $10. And the thing about buying these cosmetics is they're really cool, they're player created, and you know that when you buy these cosmetics that the player that created them is getting a kickback. There's a bunch of other crap you can spend platinum on in Warframe, but you absolutely do not have to, because you can simply just buy the blueprint for credits that you earn in game and go out into the world and farm the resources and build it. Reason number 5 why Warframe is better than Destiny: power level. In Destiny, there's an arbitrary power level. Oftentimes, you find yourself in a situation where you did buy the DLC and you are enjoying the main story content, but before you can progress, you have to consider the fact that the next activity may be power gated. So you find yourself in the situation where you have to go out into the world and do some grindy ass bullshit that you don't even want to do, just to obtain gear that's a higher power level so you can infuse into the gear that you actually want to use. And oftentimes, if you don't want to do that in Destiny, you can still access the activity at a lower power level. But the thing is, if you're even just a few power levels below, you'll take substantially more damage and you'll deal substantially less damage. And it's not a fun time. In Warframe, there's no arbitrary power level. Don't get me wrong, when you start the game, some of the world will be locked off to you, but that all just depends on your ability to go into the world and complete the missions to get to the junction to unlock the next planet. And once you unlock those nodes, they're unlocked for good. There's no power gate unless you reach in-game and you activate the steel path. In Warframe, there is also mastery rank that locks off some of the cooler weapons, but you obtain mastery by simply leveling your weapons up to level 30 and leveling up a new pair of weapons. It's a very simple system. And the thing is, even if you are using some weapons that are low mastery, that doesn't necessarily mean they're bad weapons. Some of the best weapons can be obtained at a low mastery rank. And I have an alternate account on Warframe, and the thing is, if you're a veteran player, you can easily play on an alternate account and outperform a lot of players that are a higher mastery rank than you, just for the simple fact that you have the experience. In Warframe, once you mod your weapon and put a decent build on it and get it to level 30, there's no arbitrary power level for your weapon or no weapon infusion system, which brings us to reason number 6. The sixth reason why Warframe is better than Destiny is the weapons and the build diversity. In Destiny, you have access to a primary, a secondary, and a heavy weapon. There's also no real builds for these weapons that switch up the gameplay or the way you use the weapon. There's only these mods that you can slot in. You can slot in 1 or 2 mods that have a very negligible effect on gameplay. You can also use exotics that will switch up gameplay a lot. In fact, most of the unique builds in Destiny will depend on you having some exotic piece of gear and combined with an exotic weapon, like whether you're running Stompies, Lion Ramparts, Claws of Dire Ahamkara, whatever. Your build all depends on you having one of those exotics, and then that exotic has to have the right role for the right stats on it for you to really want to be able to use it. There's also grenade abilities, a melee ability, and your super ability. And these do change up gameplay depending on what kind of fragments and aspects that you use. And keep in mind, this build system is still pretty new. We just got this build system. This isn't the way Destiny started, and it's still kind of bare bones, to be honest. In Warframe, you have access to a melee weapon, a secondary weapon, and a primary weapon. Now, these weapons can all be modded through the modding system to make your weapon deal elemental damage such as fire, toxin, cold, shock, and you can combine these elements to create corrosive, radiation, magnetic, viral. You can even mod your companion and make them deal elemental damage, or just mod them to be kind of tanky and run around and vacuum up all the loot on the map, or just mod them to be kind of tanky and survive and passively buff you. In Warframe, you can also mod your Arcwing. I know you don't have an Arcwing in Destiny, but think of an Arcwing as being able to mod your Sparrow. Imagine if you can mod your Sparrow in Destiny so it flies faster, or has extra health, or does something besides just get you from point A to point B. Each Warframe comes with 4 different abilities. So when you're modding your Warframe, you can build your Warframe to make all of your abilities better across the board, or you can just focus on 1 or 2 abilities and build your Warframe to buff those 2 abilities. Maybe you want your Warframe to have more power strength and deal more damage with those abilities. Maybe you want your Warframe's abilities to have more duration. Maybe you want those abilities to have a faster casting speed so you can cast them more often. Maybe you want those abilities to cost less so you can use them as much as possible. Oftentimes, depending on the way you mod your Warframe, it completely switches up the playstyle of that Warframe altogether. You can also mod your weapons, and these weapons aren't just weapons in the traditional sense of the word. In Destiny, you get a primary weapon that shoots bullets, you get a secondary weapon that shoots bullets, maybe you get a beam weapon, maybe you get a fusion rifle, but there's not that much variety in between. For your heavy, you usually get a sword or a rocket launcher or a glaive. Whereas in Warframe, oftentimes your primary weapon can be anything from an assault rifle to a crossbow to a bow and arrow to a flamethrower to a cryo beam weapon to a gun that shoots saws to a shotgun that shoots lasers to an infested tentacle rifle that shoots beams out of its tendrils. And the same goes for your secondary weapons, whereas your melees can be anything between like a sword, a gun blade, a whip, an electric whip, a glaive, an actual glaive that you throw and you can make it explode and deal massive damage. You can have nunchucks, you can have just about anything. Any melee weapon you can think of, most likely Warframe has some variation of it. I shit you not. And the amount of build diversity you have when you're modding these weapons is absolutely insane. Maybe you want your weapon to have a higher status chance so it procs status more often, you know? Maybe you want your weapon to have a higher critical chance so you get more crits. Maybe you want your weapon to have higher critical damage so your weapon will get those red crits. Maybe you want your melee weapon to have more range. Maybe you want to be able to throw your melee weapon and make it explode. Well, there's arcanes that can help you do that. The amount of build diversity in Warframe is absolutely insane, and there really is no comparison. Reason number 7 why Warframe is better than Destiny. In Warframe, there's no sunsetting. In Warframe, all the gear that you obtain is yours to keep from now until the time that the server shut down. And Warframe has been around longer than Destiny 2. It's been around longer than Destiny 1. I literally have stuff from when I first started playing Warframe. And then on top of that, the stuff that you don't want anymore, you can simply sell for credits. And sometimes if you wait long enough, the weapon or item you're sitting on will get a buff or will be repurposed in some way. And that's one of the great things about Warframe. A lot of times it allows you to repurpose the items that you've been hoarding. Whereas in Destiny, as it currently stands, half of the game is missing due to Bungie sunsetting a lot of the content that players previously paid for and a lot of the gear that players previously earned. And the thing about all of the gear that they sunset is they just reskinned it, repurposed it, and sold it back to you. In Destiny, when the game first launched, you paid $60 for the base game if you're an original player, $20 for the Curse of Osiris DLC, and $20 for the Warmind DLC. And those last two DLCs were pretty underwhelming, but there were some new areas and content that they added that I'm sure a lot of players wanted to keep. And if you're a player like me that spent fucking hours roaming around looking for fucking Radiolarian culture so you can level up these Curse of Osiris weapons, I'm sure that's kind of a punch in the gut. But then you would go on to pay $40 for the Forsaken DLC, which was actually pretty good. It was actually probably one of the best DLCs Destiny had, in my opinion. But unfortunately, all of that content would get sunset, and even the base game would get replaced with some bullshit that they're calling the base game that's super dumbed down for these new light free-to-play players. Whereas in Warframe, all of the content from the start of the game is still there. And don't get me wrong, this content may have been repurposed and updated for modern audiences, but it's still free and anyone can still access it to this day. Reason number 8 why Warframe is better than Destiny: the open world traversal. In Destiny, you primarily traverse the world on foot or on a sparrow. In Warframe, we now have mounts to traverse the open world. Some of those mounts fly, but the primary open world traversal tool has always been the Archwing. Once you get an Archwing launcher, you can pretty much fly around the open world, and you can build that thing so it flies faster, its abilities are better, and it's a lot tankier, and all Archwings teleport. And the thing about Archwings is flying to a location is always gonna beat the crap out of biking to a location every single time. There are also necromechs. Say if you wanted to pull your necromech out on the open world and run around hella slowly as a big ass robot tank, you can absolutely do that. It might not be the most efficient way to travel, but it is absolutely something you can do in Warframe. There is also a hoverboard in Warframe in the form of the K-Drive. The K-Drive can be obtained by completing one of the introductory quests for the open worlds, and the K-Drives are really cool. This thing is given to you for free. You can put a mod on it to make it go a lot faster, and you can do tricks on this damn thing. So what's not to like about that? So when it comes to open world traversal, yeah, Warframe is absolutely eating Destiny's lunch. Reason number 9 why Warframe is better than Destiny. Warframe has a clan system that is way more fleshed out than Destiny. If you plan to start a clan in Warframe, you get to build a dojo. Upon building a dojo, you can build different wings to the dojo. These wings can include, but are not limited to, a chem lab that features Grineer type weapons. You can build an energy lab that features energy type weapons. You can build a Tenno lab that features companions and warframes that you can't normally get in the market. All you have to do is complete the research. You can build an arena in your dojo. That way your clanmates can come in and duel each other with their warframes. All you have to do is build it. And not just that, but your clan members can contribute to the resources needed to build these wings for your dojo. Each clan can have over 1,000 members, which increases the rank of your clan. And another vital thing that your dojo will most likely be used for is the trading station, which is likely going to be the first thing that you build in your clan, which brings us to the next reason. Reason number 10 why Warframe is better than Destiny: trading in the social aspects of Warframe. Warframe actually has a whole ass player economy that comes equipped with its own trade chat that is constantly cracking off 24 hours a day. This trade chat includes players from all across Warframe trading items of varying natures that they have obtained by playing in-game. Some of the items are obtained from in-game activities and they're sold back to newer players that have had trouble getting those items for themselves. Some of those items are arcanes. Some of those items are cosmetics. Some of those items are prime variants of Warframe. Some of these weapons are mods that you can only get from doing in-game activities that will boost your Warframe's weapon damage by a substantial amount. In addition to the trading chat that is always cracking off 24 hours a day, Warframe also has a clan chat, an alliance chat, a general chat, and a recruiting chat. And these chats never stop moving. And I know some players can be intimidated when they first start using the chat, but once you simply jump in and start using the chat section, you're gonna wonder how you ever played an MMO type game that didn't come equipped with their own chat section. There's a ton of players in the general chat just answering questions, waiting to help new players. And there's a ton of players in the recruiting chat just waiting to help. It's as simple as typing "I need help" in the chat, and most likely your responses are going to be met with what ? Or most likely your responses are going to be met with "you should try the recruiting chat." Either way, the chat is there and there's a ton of players waiting to help you. Or you can just go into your settings and turn the chat off of your hub altogether. Honorable mention. The last reason why Destiny is not as good as Warframe as it currently stands, Destiny is on life support. Like, think about it. I don't know if you realize the amount of subpar content Bungie has been putting out and how they lean on this battle pass model so they don't have to put out premium content. But the thing is, Sony gave Bungie $3.5 billion. That's billion with a B, son. And they gave Bungie that to help Sony create several live service games. And so you would have to think that a lot of the Bungie team is not working on Destiny as it currently stands. That's why we keep getting this super subpar content. As it currently stands, there's most likely a skeleton crew working on Destiny 2 because a lot of the employees have been shifted to work on other projects in favor of Sony. And the only reason why people don't know about this is most likely because if you tell the Destiny community, like, hey, the reason why we've been putting out this shitty ass content is because we just don't have the manpower right now, then it would cause an uproar in the community. So as it currently stands, if you can't tell, Destiny is on life support. Listen, it's obvious that Destiny is winding down at this point. So if you're a Destiny player and you primarily play PvE, maybe you should give Warframe a try. Remember what I said earlier, Warframe has been around before D1, and apparently it's going to be around long after Destiny 2. And one of the most common things I hear from Destiny players when they finally do come to Warframe is, oh, this game is kind of like Destiny, isn't it? No, the truth is Destiny is kind of like Warframe. This is Remo Yes Man, signing out. Peace.